Tii Item 504, April 20th, 2021. Apple's Spring 2021 event and iOS 14.5. In this episode, we talk about iOS 14.5, Apple's Spring event and what they sprung on us, some other Apple news, water, too much water, plus listener feedback and more, all covered in depth starting after the intro.
Welcome to Today in iPhone.
I like it a lot.
Today in iPhone.
Hey, caller!
Oh yeah!
My beautiful iPhone, which I never have out of my hand and that I do everything with and has become an extension of who I am.
Today's episode is brought to you by Freshly. For a limited time, get $40 off your first two orders. Go to freshly.com/TII to learn more. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rob, and you are listening to the Today in iOS podcast. First up, I want to thank Jeff for sending in the music you hear in the background. Jeff wrote, "Hi Rob, I made this song called Owner with my iPhone using the Garageband app. For free downloads and more music, follow me at JeffJ6 on Twitter. Regards, Jeff J." And thanks, Jeff, for the music. And folks, I will put the full song at the end of the episode. Also want to thank Ron for sending in the artwork for this episode. Ron wrote, "Hi Rob. In 2019, my wife and I were in Scotland strolling down Buchanan Street in Glasgow and noticed a sign for cheaper Apple repairs with an arrow pointing down the street. Then I noticed that it was being held right in front of the Apple Store. Snapped a quick picture of this paradox with my iPhone XS Max, and it is attached for your use. It was edited with Photoshop Express. Regards, Ron from Toronto." Well, thanks, Ron, for the artwork. And folks, you can see the artwork in the free Tii app via the bonus button for episode 504 or at Instagram.com/TodayInIOS and also at Facebook.com/TodayInIOS. If you have some artwork and or music you have created for your iOS device that you would like to share with the audience, please email it to me at todayinios@gmail.com, and please make sure to include which app or apps you use to create said artwork and or music. And before we get into the episode, just a little free-forming, and that is, last episode, which was supposed to come out in March, did not come out in March. Show notes were written, everything was done on a Saturday, and then that last Sunday I was going to get up early in the morning and record, except Mother Nature had a different plan in store for us, and the floods came to Nashville, and my house was one of those that got flooded. So I was spending most of that Saturday night, Sunday, trying to suck and bail water out of my house. And, well, that's my welcome to Nashville. So, unfortunately, I could not record that day because we were too busy remediating and getting stuff ripped out of the house. So, yes, that is why there was no episode in March. Although some of those notes are used in this episode, but some of the items I just let go. Today's episode is one of those episodes I'm recording the first part the night before, and then the main part will come in with the Apple Spring event, and then we'll get to that later in the episode. But first up, some other Apple news we can talk about, and then we'll get into some listener feedback. And then after that, we'll get into some of the Apple news for the Spring event, and then finally we'll get back into some more listener feedback. So here you go. WWDC, Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference 2021, will be all virtual again and will run from June 7th through the 11th of June. It will be free again as well, and it is for all devs. iOS, iPadOS, tvOS 15 should all be introduced, along with watchOS 8. And with official word of the WWDC event, we can now officially start speculating about the new features for those OSs that Apple should or might introduce. Hopefully, some really interesting things this year. We'll see what Apple pulls out of their sleeve. That said, go ahead and give us a call, 206-666-6364. That's 206-Moondog. Or shoot an email to todayinios@gmail.com and let us know what feature or features you want added to the 15s or the 8. The big keynote this year will be with Tim and team, and that should be on Monday, June 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That is when all the good announcements will happen, and with a little luck and no more flooding, we'll have an episode that evening or going maybe the next evening, going over all those announcements. Depends on how much Apple announces, but hopefully it'll be the evening of June 7th. We'll have an episode and we go over all the new goodies we can look forward to, and remind you again not to sign up for the first beta. Yeah, always want to remind you that on a no dot update, you want to stay away from beta 1. In other Apple news, Apple Arcade was expanded, adding 30 new games, bringing it to over 180 games. And Apple added 2 new categories: Timeless Classics and App Store Greats. Timeless Classics includes Sudoku, chess, backgammon, and similar games. App Store Greats includes Fruit Ninja Classic, Mini Metro, and Threes, plus other past popular games. Some other new games that they included outside of those categories: NBA 2K21, the Arcade Edition, Star Trek Legends, and the Oregon Trail. Although, I wonder why the Oregon Trail isn't in Timeless Classics. It should be, but it didn't seem to be. And then even more official Apple news. Apple has expanded their independent repair provider program globally, with the goal to soon be available in more than 200 countries. There is no cost to join the Apple Independent Repair Provider program. However, to qualify, a person and company needs to commit to having an Apple certified tech to perform the repairs. But that's not so bad, as the process for certification is simple and free. Huh? Wait, what? I'm not sure I want to hear that there is a really, really low barrier to entry for repair work. Once qualified, repair providers have the ability to purchase genuine Apple parts and tools at the same price as Apple authorized service providers, and they will get free access to training, repair manuals, and diagnostics. Apple has a whole bunch of countries they just opened this up to, which you can check that list at support.apple.com/IRP-program.
Hi, Rob. This is Victor calling. Long-time listener, first-time caller, as they say. But just wanted to kind of maybe put something on your radar, maybe you could possibly talk about. There is a specific framework by a man by the name of Elias Limnios, Limneos, and he created an architecture or some framework that I'm currently running, and it's being exploited. Anyway, I just found it very, very interesting, and I was hoping you guys might be able to do a deeper dive and maybe kind of help explain what these new in the wild frameworks are, because of an accidental, or I tried to jailbreak or something like that previously, and then it just screwed me for the rest of my time with this device. So, if you wouldn't mind, and once again, my name is Victor. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Victor, thanks for that voicemail. And what Elias has is a repository, a repo, of tweaks for jailbroken iOS devices. I'll have a link in the show notes for the limneos.net site, which is Elias's website, and listeners can learn more info about what is available there. The one I was aware of from Elias was audio recorder tweak that allowed for recording phone calls on the device, not some third-party hack where you do it on some server, but actually on the device. This was available back in the days pre-iOS 8. I mean, we're talking a long time ago. So this is not something new. The limneos.net repo goes back some time. Nowadays, it's no longer called just audio recorder. I think that it went from audio recorder to audio recorder 2, and there's been other versions, but now we're at audio recorder 10S, and it covers iOS 12, 13, and 14. And by the way, when I say 10S, it's really XS, so he might call it XS. Audio recorder XS or 10S. Now, assuming you have a device running iOS 12, 13, and 14, and that device is a version that you can jailbreak, you can get this in there. So when I asked recently, what do you need jailbreaking for? Victor, thanks for the reminder about audio recorder, which can record phone calls on your iPhone. It can also record Skype, FaceTime, the audio part, and other VoIP audio and video calls, again, just the audio part. But for podcasting, that's all I want. I went back and looked for previous mentions of this, and they go all the way back to 2013. So over 8 years ago, The limnios.net repo was out there, and we had mentioned on the show. Again, looking at features today for the audio recorder, it's definitely improved. But Elias has also many other tweaks available. Go to limnios.net to learn more. And again, this is only for those that jailbreak, and the audio recorder tweak, yes, that is a justifiable reason to jailbreak, because that's not something Apple's going to allow anytime soon, which is the native recording. And you can actually set it up to automatically record your phone calls every time you have a phone call. And again, if you're in a one-party state, you don't even have to give a notification that it's being recorded legally. Well, check with your local lawyer, and don't quote me, I'm not a lawyer, but if you're in a one-party state, you can set it up that way. I think it gets a little fuzzy if the person you're talking to happens to be from a two-party state. But that said, it is nice that if you do want to record phone calls, there is a way to do that, and do it automatically and on the device. So you can pick a phone call up that someone called you at and record it, and that's the audio recorder XS or 10S from limnios.net. And thanks again, Victor. I want to welcome back Freshly as a sponsor of the show. Right now, Freshly is offering our listeners $40 off your first two orders when you go to freshly.com/TII. To say the past month has been even more chaotic than normal, or really ever, is way understating it for us. The house we just moved into was one of the ones here flooded in Nashville. And with having to get our brand new carpet ripped out, the drywall, which was not too dry, cut out, and moving everything in our storage and our garage out of the water, and then cleaning everything up, and then moving it all back, we just did not have time to cook. That is where Freshly comes to the rescue. But folks, you do not need a flood to appreciate the work Freshly chefs can do for you. I recommend you let Freshly chefs take care of your meals for a few nights a week to help take the pressure off you. Freshly offers chef-made, nutrient-packed, delicious meals delivered fresh to your door, no cooking required. Stop stressing about dinner. Go to freshly.com/TII for $40 off your first two orders, and then choose from over 30 delicious, satisfying, better-for-you meals. Ordering is easy. A few of our favorite meals have been Sicilian-style chicken parmesan, the buffalo chicken, and home-style chicken with masterful mac and cheese. The latter one was definitely a winner with the kids. Freshly can fit your lifestyle with a variety of plans and meals to pick from that work for your dietary needs, preferences, tastes, and family size. Try Freshly now for a limited time to get $40 off your first two orders. Go to freshly.com/TII to learn more. Thanks, Freshly, for sponsoring this show. All right, let's get into some listener emails. Hi, Rob. I updated to iOS 14.4 to get security updates, only to discover that Apple has broken the connection for my Braille display and has taken away the audio cue for entering the PIN so a blind person can easily unlock their iPhone. I guess breaking accessibility is not considered a major quality control issue, but imagine if the screen display for all sighted users went blank. Apple has done such a great job developing accessibility, it's really a shame that they now allow it to break so often. Perhaps I need to keep an Android phone around just as a backup device. How long do you expect it to be before Apple fixes this? Thanks for letting me rant on your fabulous show. Regards, Greg in Pennsylvania. And Greg, I am really sorry to hear about that. Well, I am hoping by the time you hear this, iOS 14.5 will be out in the wild, and I would recommend updating to iOS 14.5, and hopefully that will fix your issues. I know normally I say don't update right away, and for everyone else, I will say, hold back when 14.5 comes out. We'll talk about that later in the show. Hopefully by then Apple will have announced 14.5, or it will have already been released. But again, Greg, sorry for your issues. Hopefully 14.5 fixes that, and if it does fix it, please email back into the show and let us know if it fixed it or didn't, worse yet, didn't fix it, so that we can definitely raise the flag with Apple and let them know that, hey, there's an issue going on here again. On episode 502, I read an email string from Greg from New Zealand about the modem settings, and this is a continuation of that email thread. Hey, thanks, Rob. FYI, the problem I have is that after leaving home where I am on Wi-Fi, my 10R sometimes doesn't find the 4G LTE network, i.e. Google Maps thinks it's offline, despite showing good signal strength and the 4G signal symbol. In New Zealand, my mobile carrier is 2 degrees. They are a newish, smaller player, and outside their own network, they share Vodafone towers. I'm wondering if the handoff isn't working correctly. By now, you'll have seen the 14.4 RC 18D52 is a public release and not a beta. Cheers, Greg. I said, hi, Greg. Have you done the oldie but goodie reset network settings option that oftentimes cleans up a lot of the issues? Try doing that now and see if it connects to 4G LTE after it reboots. I do recommend you use force quit all open apps first. Note, after it reboots and you test it for 4G LTE, you will then want to reconnect to Wi-Fi as it wipes out the password that you had for Wi-Fi. And you need to re-enter any Wi-Fi passwords. But this does oftentimes fix many and most issues with connectivity. Try this and let me know if it worked. By the way, this happens to my wife's iPhone when she's out and about traveling around here in Nashville. For some reason, it will get on and off as some networks and get locked up, and I have to do the reboot for her. And then Greg replied back, hi, Rob. It's an oldie but goodie. Yep, done a few of them. A reset fixes it, but it's a pain. By that, I mean a hard restart. Up, down, wake, and wait for the Apple. Cheers, Greg. And then he sent another follow-up. He goes, hey, Rob, updates. I installed iOS 14.5 beta 1 today, and I know I've released the hounds before you recommend, but I'll take that risk. I use the 3U tools to do it because I'm a beta tester, not a developer. Going well so far. Modem firmware on my 10R is 13.03.02, so up a full 0.01. Woohoo! I'll keep you posted. Cheers, Greg. And then he followed up with, hi, Rob. Today in New Zealand, they dropped iOS 14.5 beta 1.5, and I've put it on my 10R. In my case, it was a huge 4 gig download, perhaps because I had downloaded beta 1 from the 3U tools. So summary as follows. On the 5th of February, modemware 3.03.02, i.e. no change from previous, is then, let's see, the 3rd. It was 3.3.02. Okay, and then previously iOS 14.4 full release 3.02.02, and then previously 14.4 beta 1 3.02.01, i.e. it stepped back, and then previously on the 14.3 full release it was 3.2.02. My problem of lost mobile data went away with the beta iOS 14.5 beta 1. Cheers, Greg, and he's in New Zealand, and thanks for that update and info. Sounds like, folks, if you're having issues with mobile data connections, that iOS 14.5, when it's launched, may fix those issues. I'll let you know as well with my wife's phone if we no longer see any of those issues. But yes, it is a pain. For some reason, my wife's iPhone SE, the new SE2 version, when she's moving out in the car and she's doing connections, if she goes into a place, usually it's to like my son's school with really bad reception, and comes out of that, she has a problem getting back on the network, and then I have to do a reset. So hopefully this will fix that issue. Thanks again, Greg, for all that feedback.
In the case, and he was worried about the OtterBox not having the MagSafe cases. Well, on the Apple cases, they, from what I've read, they're the same as the ones I've had before. I've used all of them. The silicone case, I love. It's very grippy. It does have a lip to protect the front of your phone, but the Apple case signatures have nothing at the bottom. So, especially for when you're swiping up, there's nothing at the bottom, but there is 2 little lips at the bottom that do protect the bottom of your phone, but some people don't like it. I prefer it. It's actually, when I have a chance, I do go with the Apple case because I like how they have the cutout at the bottom. But the new clear case, as I was saying, I don't like it as much because it now has that metal magnet. There's magnets in it that you can see, which I know there's no way to get around that, but I just think it looks silly. I mean, I don't know. I guess if you're getting a clear case to show off your phone, I don't think you want this big, what looks like a big oversized power button on the back of your case that then obscures your phone anyways. So I think if I had an iPhone, the next iPhone 12, I think I would probably opt for the silicone or leather case. I've used the leather cases before. Now they are way overpriced in my opinion at like $50, but they have these awesome metal click buttons. I don't think they've changed them. I got it as a Christmas present the one year because I had to pay $50 for a case like that. But I mean, in the long run, you're spending, $1,400 on your iPhone 12 Pro Max. I mean, $50 case is really nothing in the long run of things, I guess. But you can find cheaper ones on Amazon. I have found that the cheaper cases feel cheaper. The Apple cases tend to feel nicer. I don't know if they're actually truly worth the price they charge, but they are nice cases. They do protect your phone, but they're on the side of not the most protective case. They're on the side of, if you drop your phone face down and it lands on ceramic, your phone's not hitting, your screen's not hitting the floor. But if there's rocks or something like that, it's not that extra extreme level that the OtterBox provides. I'm sure OtterBox will be doing a MagSafe version in the future. I mean, they're like the most popular case, probably one of the most popular cases for iPhone. So I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they have the OtterBox MagSafe cases, if they don't already at this point. But that's my feedback. I really like the Apple cases. If you don't mind as another thing, I don't know if the iPhone 12s are like this, but if you go on Amazon, you can actually look for used Apple cases, and I've gotten the clear case that I currently am using on my iPhone 11, and that clear case, I got it at $20 instead of $40. So you can get them half off, and it was only an open box. The case had looked, as far as I could tell, had never been used. So there's always that. Just let you guys know, cases and grips and stuff was my obsession, as I'm sure you guys know, because I've left many voicemails about them. So, if you have any other questions about cases and stuff, because I buy too many of them, let me know. Thanks. Have a great day.
Justin, as always, thank you so much for your feedback. And please, yes, send in more feedback. And other folks, please send in your feedback to the show. 206-666-6364. That's 206-MOONDOG. Now, I said I had gotten the show notes ready for the last episode, and some of those show notes included speculation of what would be announced at the next Apple event, whenever there was a next Apple event that was supposed to happen in March and didn't happen in March and is now happening, today. And absolutely no reason to play that speculation because, here's what was really released. And we're going to get into the Apple Spring event now. The event starts out with a little short 1-minute video at the Apple campus and then centers in on Tim, who is at the Starship or Spaceship campus. Initial comments are all about the environment and getting Apple carbon neutral across all products and their footprint by 2030, and that they're on goal for that. Per the first product announcement, Tim started with the Apple Card. Okay, sure, let's go there. But still not something I can get for some reason. But for those with it, the first thing Apple is doing is they're rolling out where it's going to be a shared credit history with the card. So both holders of the card, both spouses, both partners, can build credit equally. And Apple Card can be used by anyone over the age of 13 in your family with optional spending limits and controls for the kids. This is called Apple Card Family. Next up was podcasts. Yes, podcasts making a nice appearance here. Good job, James and team. This is where Tim, though, started out incorrectly stating that Apple helped launch podcasts. No, they did not. It was already launched, but Apple did help bring it to the mainstream. But podcasting had, quote, launched, unquote, in 2004 with Adam Curry, Dave Weiner, and really August Trometer, if you want to talk about really launching it. And all three of them playing key parts in the launch of it. August Trometer was iPod RX, which is their first real GUI interface for syncing up podcasts. Apple came along in late June 2005. So by the way, when Adam and Dave and August did that was all really August of 2004 when that really iPod RX came out. Apple came along in late June 2005 and mainstreamed it. But by then, Libsyn was already well over 6 months old. So sorry to go off the rails there, but while Apple has done the most for podcasting and podcasters over the last 16 plus years, it did not by any stretch of the imagination launch podcasting. Also, kudos to CC Chapman and Brian Ibbett for having their podcast shown in the top podcast rank in the presentation when they did a flashback to how it looked on the day it launched. If you know how to look at the replay and go frame by frame, you can find CC Chapman and Brian Ibbett mentioned. So kudos, gentlemen. Apple did mention when they launch with podcast support, not when they launch podcasting, but when they launched with podcast support in June, end of June 2005, they had 3,000 podcasts in the directory. And yes, Podcast 411, my first podcast, was in there on that first day. Her podcast, as mentioned before, the Apple Podcast app in iOS 14.5 is seeing the biggest change to it since iOS 11. I will have a link in the show notes to a blog post at Libsyn that goes over all the key changes. But in summary, the artwork gets more pronounced. Apple changes from subscribe to follow. The first action you see when you come to a podcast page is listen to the latest episode. Following is off to the upper right, and it's just a little button where it's a plus symbol, and you just tap it and turn it to a check symbol. And no, it's no longer the key action. Before, subscribe was the key action. Now, follow is not the key action, which takes over for subscribe. The key action is listen to the latest episode. The background color for a show is influenced by the show level artwork. The old limit of 300 episodes indexed at any given time for a show has been raised to 2,000 episodes. And the bigger change, which is not in the blog post and was just announced at the beginning of the Apple event, is that Apple is rolling out Apple Podcast subscriptions, which are one-to-one subscriptions between listeners and podcasters. The feature will roll out in 130 countries next month. Per iOS 14.5, where the new Apple Podcast app will be, that just launched today, right after the event for devs. If you are not a dev, you will see it available to download sometime the week of April 26th. This no longer said it was a beta, so this was the gold master for devs. As always, for most users, I would recommend waiting until iOS 14.5.1 or 14.5.2 comes out. So there have, you've been warned. I'll leave it at that. You've been warned. There are some cases, as I mentioned earlier, where if you're having connectivity issues switching between networks, then you may want to roll the dice and try updating to 14.5 as soon as it's available. But again, for most, it's usually best to wait for a single or double, the first or second double dot update that will squash some of those annoying bugs before you update. We will talk about iOS 14.5 in more detail in the next episode, but if you are a dev or are just daring, and you do go and download it once it becomes available, please call the show or email the show. Call us 206-666-6364. That's 206-MoonDog, or send an email to todayinios@gmail.com and give us your feedback on iOS 14.5 Goldmaster. Do not send in issues with the betas, so you make sure you update to the Goldmaster that came out today on the 20th after the Apple event. Just the Goldmaster, which is now available to devs. Or it'll be released to the public version, which in one of the Apple press releases said it would be released the week of April 26th. So they're obviously going to need that to support the tags that are shipping that week. So somewhere the week of the 26th is when 14.5 will be available to the masses. If you do upgrade, let me know your feedback. Give us a call. Shoot us an email. Next up in the presentation from Tim, which at this point was about 6 minutes in, was a new member to the iPhone 12 family, a purple version. Prince would have been so proud. Pre-order it on Friday, April 23rd, with delivery and availability starting Friday, April 30th. The whole purple iPhone segment was brief, a 1-minute announcement. Next, they moved into the Find My app world, and the oft-rumored Apple AirTags have been released. The AirTags will cost $29 for one, and a 4-pack will set you back $99. So $29 for one, $99 for 4. You can order on Friday, April 23rd, with delivery starting on April 30th. The tags will only work with iPhones that have the U1 chip, so that is the iPhone 11 and 12 models. Apple claims privacy, of course, stopping unwanted tag detection, rotating identifiers, and audible alerts from unwanted tag pings, I guess they were meant to say. It seemed like they messed up what they said on that point. All of this, and we were just 11 minutes in. Next up was Apple TV Plus, and they talked about Ted Lasso and showed a preview for season 2, which looked pretty good. I didn't watch season 1, so I got to go back and watch season 1 and then watch season 2. Then we got to some real meat. A new Apple TV 4K. With the new version, it will have the A12 Bionic chip. HDR is available in a high frame rate, and there is an option to color balance your TV using your iPhone. You face your iPhone to the TV within 1 inch of the screen to a set place on the screen, and it helps update your color balance via Apple TV 4K, and it makes everything look better, supposedly. We'll see how that works. But the real big new feature, the remote is getting redesigned. Yay! And this is where I would put in applause if I had more time. And in the new version, you will easily be able to tell which end is which. It is kind of a morph between the Apple TV 2nd gen remote, which I really liked, and the most recent remote, which I loathe. So I guess it's a loathe feeling? I don't know. It is a one-piece aluminum design. So again, back kind of towards that original 2nd gen remote. There is a round click pad, and it has a power button for your TV, and the Siri button is on the side, so you can stop accidentally hitting it, or just hit it every time you pick it up, one of the two. Per the remote, some other changes. It no longer has an accelerometer and 3-axis gyro. In other words, no one was using the Siri remote to play games, so they killed off that feature. Just use the SteelSeries controller or an Xbox or PlayStation remote if you want to play games. Come on, folks. If you're serious about games, you use one of those. The new remote is Bluetooth 5.0 versus 4.0 for the last version. It still has a lightning connector for charging. They didn't kill that off yet. It's only mostly dead. And as mentioned, you can now turn off your TV or receiver via the power button on the remote. So you only need one remote, which is nice. There's a couple places in our house where we have the TV remote just to turn the TV on, and then we just have the Apple TV is the only thing connected to a couple of our TVs. The Apple TV unit now supports Wi-Fi 6. Pricing will be $179 for 32 gig and $199 for 64 gig. So yeah, really, pricing is $199 for the 64 gig version. I mean, who would buy someone the $179 version as a present? Oh, I thought you would like this, but I could not drop the extra $20 to get you to the top of the line version. Well, that says a lot about the giver, and well, thank you, Apple. You can order on April 30th with availability the second half of May, so not in time for Mother's Day, but you can easily get it in time for Father's Day, hint, hint, wink, wink, if you order April 30th. That was the first 18 minutes of the presentation. The next 20 was Mac stuff, which we will not cover here. Check out Mac OS Ken for more information on Mac stuff, or MacCast. Jump to about the 36 plus minutes in mark, and there's a video which is basically a ripoff of Mission Impossible with a man who's wearing a mask. You don't know it till the end. The man is going through and dropping down ventilator shafts and on a rope, and he's stealing the M1 chip from one of the Apple labs. Then he takes it to another Apple lab, and he plugs that M1 into an iPad, and that masked man turns out to be Tim Cook. Cute little video. Well done, Apple. Yes, the new iPad Pro will have the M1 chip, and my wallet just got a little bit lighter. iPad OS is already ready for the M1, according to Apple. Apple is claiming the M1 is 50% faster than the current iPad Pro, and it is 75 times faster on the CPU performance than the original iPad. They also claim 40% faster graphics performance versus the past gen iPad Pro, and a whopping 1,500 times better performance graphically than the original iPad. The new iPad Pro will support both the latest Xbox and PS remotes, including the haptic feedback. Per storage, Apple is offering up 2 terabytes of storage on the top end. So the storage levels work out to be this: 128, no, we're not kidding, but you wished we were, gigabytes. 256, slightly better, but still kind of worthless gigabytes. 512 should have been the entry-level gigabytes. 1, this is the one most will get, terabytes. And 2, because you want to brag, terabytes versions. Colors are silver and space gray. Dimension-wise, identical to the last gen. So good news for case makers. And the USB-C port will now support Thunderbolt and USB 4. This means a lot more accessories will work with it. Wireless-wise, it will support 5G. Otherwise, the rest of the wireless specs and sensors are the same as the last gen. Camera-wise, the big addition is what Apple is calling center stage. This is kind of where the camera will zoom in on you on a video call, and then it'll track you as you move about. So it uses a wide angle, and then it again picks where you are in the frame, and then zooms in on that, and then follows you about without actually moving. Kind of looks pretty cool. I like that. So we'll see how that works out. The new iPad Pro uses the Apple Pencil 2, same as the last gen. But per Scribble, it now supports these languages: English, Chinese, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish. So they've increased the number of languages available for Scribble support. Apple is also claiming all-day battery life, same as last gen, but they needed a slightly bigger battery on the 12.9-inch version. Same size as the 11, but why did they need a bigger version on the 12.9? Well, that's to support the new display called Liquid Retina XDR. And this is important to note. That new display is only available for the 12.9-inch version, not the 11-inch version. That display has 1000 nits max full screen brightness, 1600 nits peak brightness HDR, and an amazing 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio. A little side note, those getting the 128, 256, and 512 gigabyte versions, you get 8 gig of RAM. Those getting the 1 and 2 terabyte versions, you get 16 gig of RAM. Apple didn't point that out in the presentation. That was hidden in the notes. Again, 1 terabyte version is what I see selling out first. So you want to order early if you want it. That said, let's go over pricing. First, the 11-inch version. Pricing goes from $799 for the 128 Wi-Fi only to $2,099 for the 2 terabyte Wi-Fi cellular model. For the 12.9-inch version, pricing goes from $1,099 for the 128 gig Wi-Fi only version to $2,399 for the Wi-Fi and cellular version at 2 terabytes. The Magic Keyboard for the 5th gen iPad 12.9-inch is $349, and the Apple Pencil 2 2nd gen is $129, bringing the total max that you could spend here on those 3 pieces combined to $2,877. That 5G is a $200 upcharge, 2 terabytes is a $400 upcharge. So, for example, if you just went with the 1 terabyte, 12.9-inch Wi-Fi only, then the price would be $2,277 if you got the Apple Pencil 2 and the Magic Keyboard. It's $1,799 if you just get the 1 terabyte 12.9-inch Apple Pro. A lot of things that kick out there. You can order the new iPad Pros on April 30th with delivery starting the second half of May. Again, missing Mother's Day, but in time for Father's Day. And that was, it's also in time for graduation. School graduation. You want to buy something really nice for that college or high school grad, there you go, or college grad for that matter. And that was the Apple Spring event. And my wallet will be getting a little thinner and a little lighter later this month. As a reminder, Friday, April 23rd is the order day for the new Apple AirTags and the purple iPhone 12. Delivery will be April 30th. On those AirTags, make sure you have an iPhone 11 or iPhone 12 series, and that means all the iPhone 11 Pros and iPhone 12 Pros as well. So anything from the iPhone 11 and up, it will have the U1 chip. Friday, the 30th of April, is the order date for the new Apple TV 4K with a 12 chip, and also for the new iPad Pros with the M1 chip. Both are slated for the second half of May delivery. And that wraps up the Apple event. Give us a call, 206-666-6364. That's 206-MOONDOG. Or shoot an email to todayinios@gmail.com. And that email can just be a recording that you record on your voice memo app and send that recording in. But give us feedback. What did you think about the Apple event? Are you buying anything that was released today? Are you going to plunk down and get the new purple iPhone for someone that you know? That actually could be a Mother's Day gift. That will be here in time. So iPhone 12 purple edition. AirTags, another Mother's Day gift as well. If you have a significant other or a wife who's constantly losing keys or things like that, you can get her the tags for Mother's Day. So yes, that's a nice message to your mom. Hey, I know you're forgetful, so here is a way to be not so forgetful. Maybe not. Maybe the purple iPhone's better. And then, of course, are you going to get the new Apple TV 4K? Or are you going to get the new iPad Pro? Or are you going to get both or combination thereof? Let us know your feedback and thoughts on today's event. Were you happy, sad? Was there something you wanted that you didn't see? Again, there's going to be another event, keynote, June 7th at the Apple WWDC event. So there's a chance for Apple to introduce, if you are a Mac person, new MacBook Pro, the 16-inch with an M1 chip. That's a possibility that will be announced at that event. But that's outside the purview of this show. All right. So again, send your feedback. Love to hear what your thoughts were on today's event. Back into some voicemail. Hi, Rob. Over a year ago, my wife surprised me with an Apple TV for my birthday. I had been waiting for or wanting one for a while, and she was excited to surprise me. However, I've been listening to your podcast, episode 492, literally minutes before the gift, and you had said that there might be a new Apple TV announced at the March event. I promptly returned the Apple TV in hopes of getting the newest model within a month or two. Fast forward a year, and no new Apple TV has come out. Will it have been worth the wait? Does Apple even deserve my money at this point? My TV is a smart TV, which connects to streaming services. So what is the point of an Apple TV anyway? I'm interested in what you have to say. Thanks, Ari from Madison. Now, I had written these notes up. This was going to be on the previous episode. So anyway, this is today's announcement. So take that with this grain of salt when I now read what I wrote prior to today's announcement. First, I am very sorry you returned, Ari. I'm very sorry that you returned the gift from your wife, especially since she was excited to get you it. Please don't take actions like that based on rumors or speculations on this show or any other show. None of us knows what Apple will do next. We guess/speculate close or spot on from time to time, but not so much with the Apple TV last year. There are rumors of a new Apple TV with updated remote. Hopefully, new said remote will be able to tell which way it is pointed. I cannot count the amount of times I picked up the upside down and hit the wrong button. Very frustrating. Hey, that one proved point on. Per the usefulness of it, I personally love it. We have in our house 7 Apple TVs, soon to be 8. Well, one will have to get retired. We only have some TVs. There's one for every TV. Maybe I'll buy another TV. Nah, just retire the old one. Most are not the newest. Only 2 are the 4K version. Our top streaming services we use on it are HBO, Netflix, Disney, Amazon Video, Hulu Plus, and of course, Apple TV Plus. But the kids also play games on it. We have a couple of SteelSeries controllers and a few Xbox controllers the boys use with it. But it would be nice if there were more console-level games built for the Apple TV Plus. And by the way, today's announcement with the Bionic chip brings that possibility even closer. In any case, we love our Apple TVs, even the old ones, and we still have a second-gen Apple TV that works and is hooked up to our TV in our guest room as we relegate our guests to the second-gen Apple TV, which actually will now get upgraded. And to the next email. Hi, Rob. My child, 13 and a half years old, is trying to log into a game. When he clicks on Sign In with Apple, it generates an error box that states your Apple ID cannot be used to create accounts with other apps. How can I fix this? I have an iPhone 11, iOS 14.4. Thanks, Alan from Israel. I have not seen or heard of this issue. I tried to do a little finding on this one. I could not find this one, so I'm going to throw it out to the collective conscious of the show and say, is someone out there ever had this issue? Do you know how to help Alan? Let us know if you've tried to, again, if you've had an issue where you try to sign in with Apple and it generates an error box that states your Apple ID cannot be used to create accounts for other apps. Let us know what your solution was. The only thing I would say, Alan, and this doesn't sound like it's the case with you, sometimes Apple IDs are a little finicky until you first download your first free game, and that kind of verifies and kicks it in. But I'm going to assume your Apple ID has been used quite a bit, and that's not the case here. So if anyone has any idea how to fix this for Alan, please give us a call or shoot us an email. And then one more voicemail message here before we go. Hi, Rob. I have an iPhone 12 Pro Max running iOS 14.4.2. Starting yesterday, it rang when 2 calls came in, and neither numbers are listed as favorites, even though I had the mute switch clicked. I am a help desk administrator for a bank, and my shift is from 8 to 5. I always activate the mute switch at the start of work and only turn it back on during lunch when I clock out for the day. I got a call once today, and it rang. Luckily, I have my Apple Watch, and I can quickly silence it from there. But other items follow. The mute switch, the keyboard sounds are disabled. Other notifications such as text and the app notifications also just vibrate, but the phone calls are a big worry. Any ideas what's going on? Thanks in advance. And no name given. So that's a strange one. I have not seen that. And again, I'm going to throw this one out to the audience. So again, here's some more homework for the audience. Please help out, name redacted. If you've seen an issue where you had the mute switch activated, but phone calls from someone you do not know still came through. And again, it was not numbers listed as favorite. So if you have this situation that happened and you fixed it, let us know what you did. 206-666-6364. That's 206 Moondog. Or record it or send text email to todayinos@gmail.com. Where is Elvis?
I believe he's left the building.
Where is Elvis?
He's not dead. He just went home.
Where is Elvis?
He's watching the detectives. Oh, but maybe you meant the other Elvis.
Where is Elvis?
He's gone to Graceland.
Where is Elvis?
He was last seen in Las Vegas. In several places at once.
Where is Elvis?
He's down at the end of Lonely Street.
Where is Elvis?
My sources tell me Area 51, but that's classified.
Thanks once more to our sponsor for this episode, Freshly. Make eating better your springtime resolution and get a special limited time offer. Go to freshly.com/TII for $40 off your first 2 orders. And before we go today, I want to remind you to send in your feedback to the show, 206-666-6364. That's 206 Moondog. Or record your feedback and email to the show at todayinos@gmail.com. Feedback could be a question or comment about something someone said on this episode, or it could be a question or a rant about something else you have, an app or product review, good or bad. As long as it's iOS related, it is welcomed. I'm always looking for new artwork to feature that you created on iOS device. Just put some TII branding on it and send it in. And of course, we're always looking for more music created on iOS device to play on the show. This is your show, and your feedback is greatly desired. And don't forget to check out our moderated MeWe community by going to todayinos.com/community. When you go there, you need to request to be added. I have 2 questions. First one seems to quickly weed out the Android fanboys. I ask, which is the better OS, iOS or Android? And, well, the Android fanboys can't bring themselves to say iOS, so they get booted. They say either Android or they say both, and then I just reject them. So yeah, it's a nice, safe Android fanboy-free zone that you can ask questions or post articles about pretty much anything Apple related. Quick reminder, if you are an app dev or an iBook author, email me if you want your app or iBook featured in the promo giveaway segment for free. We just need the 5 promo codes or more to give away. Simply email me at todayinos@gmail.com, and please include a 60-second or less audio review of your app or iBook indicating you are the dev or the author. Also, when you send in the promo codes, please make sure to let me know when they expire. And finally, check out the Tii app, which is free to you. Search for TII in the iOS App Store. It is the best way to consume the show and to get push notifications each time a new episode of TII is released, and it is fully voice-over friendly, of course. Please go right now and download the Tii app or get the update. Until the next time, I'm your host, Rob, reminding you to phone different. The show is hosted on Libsyn.com and part of the Libsyn Media Network. If you are looking for podcast hosting, go to Libsyn.com. That is Libsyn.com for hosting for your podcast and creation of your own smartphone app. The Today in iOS podcast can be found everywhere you listen to podcasts. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Overcast, Stitcher, and everywhere else you listen to audio.